I just want to say we actually shot in the Ozarks. I believe it's our shot in Cumming, Georgia, where I live. That's in Georgia.
That's so funny.
Ozarks. Yeah.
Well, we're more authentic. Yeah, we're more authentic.
Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
This is fucking no.
Let's get started. Good morning. My name is Nigeria Chambers. I am from Big Oak Belt Media. Super excited to talk about both of you all's new and latest project, Violent Hands, coming to theaters October 31st. JM and Billy, how you feeling?
Feeling good, man.
How you feeling? We're back to energy this morning. I just knew it.
I do want to start where you coming in from.
I'm in LA right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Saying, with films like this, and especially when you have to build an emotional connection quickly, the work Billy and Alexandra does very early in this film instantly grabs us by the heart. The chemistry, how the scenes are shot together, and I clocked it at about 26 minutes, doing we've invested into this couple to the point that we went to see the feature, the kills, effects that's mentioned earlier. Seeing that it's all there. So for you, for Billy, obviously you worked with building that chemistry with Alexandra very quickly. But when you see them off the page and come to life, and you're seeing something that maybe you saw in your head, but now you're visually seeing it. Just talk about, what those moments meant for you in terms of seeing and obviously you and performing them alongside of her.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, when we cast, Billy came on first, and then Alexandra came later. I will say that it was a conscious decision. During casting, it was a conscious decision. When I met Alexandra, having known Billy, I actually cut a movie with Billy years ago. So I'd seen tons of Billy raw dailies. So I kind of felt like I knew Billy a little bit. Even though we had never worked together, as director actor, I kind of knew his personality a little bit. And when I met Alexandra, I just had a feeling that there was something in the chemicals between these two types of, they're both extroverts and they're both very charismatic, people. And I just had a feeling that knowing Billy was going to go to some pretty dark places with this character, that there was a yin and a yang to that darkness in Alexandra, and that there would be something there. You never know, but luck was on our side. And literally, I think the second they met each other, I was like, we're good. You could just tell when they were walking around talking to each other, I was like, we're good. They got it. And yeah, man, you're so right. I think it's a magic trick with these types of movies. You have so little real estate, and it really does fuel the entire movie. So in some ways, the entire movie rests on that relationship.
Yeah, the real quick ability, you have a fantastic cast. Up and down the board, you look on paper, it's like, I know this movie is going to be great. But we have if the chemistry doesn't there, then the motivations and the decisions and just how far to the extreme a particular character can go doesn't make sense if we don't actually emotionally feel it. And again, beyond particular things that kind of happened very early in the film, this is a man that decided to say, hey, I'm about to get married. We're thinking about kids, but I am putting boundaries with my family right here. I'm going to leave it behind. And you feel that as adults. You understand you got to do that sometimes. I'm like, I understand this. And then it just, it goes to shambles. But yeah, really, I want to hear about Rico with her.
Oh man, again, it's easy to fall in love with a beautiful woman like that. It outside and inside, she's just brings herself a whole heart everywhere she goes. She's kind, she's stunning. It's easy. I didn't have to try hard, Yeah, but she's talented, she respects everyone in the space. You could only dream of continually working with people like her. It's a real gift. I think she has a massive resume following her. She's been at everything, and her talent speaks for itself. I don't know. She's a star. And as long as we got that relationship right, that grounds the whole story for Violent, it's worth the revenge. So I'm glad it worked out that way. But I've definitely worked with people where I was like, oh, this is not healthy.
So imagine you went through extensive weapon training for this film. I mean, there's very few times where Luke doesn't have some type of weapon in his hand, pointed or using it, and so on. And I love that he doesn't hold back, because for all the emotional reasons that we understand the motivation rivalry, I'm glad that he's still 10 toes down. He's still on business when it comes down to it. And talk the trade, talk about being drenched in blood, handled them. And it's any behind the scenes things we should take into consideration in terms of, really his journey through being or establishing truth within the family.
I based that, funny enough, with the gun stuff, I based this character, a lot of it, off this guy that is an actor as well, but he's also a real cowboy. His name's Creed Garnick. And one of the things I always wanted for some reason, I don't know, no one would probably notices this. He's right-handed, but he shoots left.
Wow.
So always shoots left-handed.
By the way, people have called it out to me, Billy.
Oh, they did?
Oh, he's a lefty. Interesting. Yeah.
As a shooter? Yeah. No, we had also a wonderful arms guy on set. What was his name again?
Jacob. Yeah. Jacob, he's a sweetheart. He's a big, gentle giant. He's like 6'4", and he looks like he's like my uncle from 1986, but he's 28 or something. But he was great. And his discipline and respect to the weapons were really important, actually. It makes you feel safe on set. We never used bang, right? It was all digitally added. It was mostly digital. We just
ball shot.
We used Chuck Meir, our special effects first coordinator. He used a paintball gun that had pellets in it that had dust. So a lot of the practical gunshot stuff where you're seeing ricochets are paintball guns dusting. And then we would go in and touch up with a little visual effects.
Yes.
The blood work is all mostly practical, a little bit of touch-ups. But if you're seeing Billy getting splattered with blood, it was hard to get
Splattered with blood.
Yeah.
Sticky for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was,
That's why I don't like doing horror films. It's always at night and you're always wet blood.
yeah.
And Dylan having now flashbacks of the budget of the bread he had to pour you, Billy.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's important to recognize, this budget point of this film is very, very low.
Yeah.
John-Michael's creativity and the ingenuity of all the producers on board to make this film come together the way it has is, I think, the real mount that's beautiful. To really have John-Michael's script jump from the page to the screen is an incredible mount to climb.
Yeah.
He did successfully. I'm proud of you, John-Michael.
Oh, shucks, man.
Oh, shucks.
Dude, man, I feel like, and hopefully it's still not being considered as a slight, but independent films are at this rate, they're the Houdinis of filmmaking, because you have these smaller budgets, but it looks so granular. And the practical work, I barely know. I don't even think I noticed even CG. So that's again, the witchcraft in terms of looking the production wise. But I mean, you're getting, even with smaller budgets, and obviously I know the financial aspect in the background, but as the consumer, the viewers, I mean, these projects are looking more and more crisp and contenders with these big studio projects. And this was just one of them.
The truth is that the industry is in real shamble in the big budget world. It's tremendous to do work on horrible scripts. And it's just, it is. It's these AI bullshit, create art. But the truth is, these independent films, it's human to human connection. It is human. I think art is you want to express yourself.
Yeah.
And humor, you go oh my God, I am not alone in feeling.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
That's the point of art, is to connect and be like, I'm not alone.
absolutely.
Step away.
Yeah. And from a bare bones aspect too, like filmmaking has become so democratized. It used to be that 20 years ago, when Billy and I probably first started in this business, the only people who had access to the tools to make a sleek, polished film were the studios. Like you were lucky if you got a high 8 camera and some, now though you can get a camera that looks as good as any studio film, at your fingertips, and the tools are there. It's like, it's a much more open world.
Yeah, but like, don't you think now, like, studio films look too clean? Like it's just like, it's so clear and clean that I'm like, oh, I see that it's fake. It's so real that I'm like, oh, I hear it's seen.
The fidelity has gotten too good, where it's like, now we're in this hyper real space that doesn't feel cinematic.
Like, I see your wig. I see,
yeah.
So it does.
I did the just for the gym, but yes, she was the out really on this film. This super complicated, super messy. I mean, they're in deep and dark. This is still released. The granular message about family. When they're really to that too, would you say this was sort of a statement about family, considering everything that he goes through in this film?
But just to get clarity again, the question is, what is your statement?
Family. And for me, just as a viewer, it's very simple to say that, family's complicated. Just thinking from a granular standpoint with everything that's happening with this family, the Frost family, even with people who, there was a very interesting statement early in this film I was just thinking about, and it was mentioned to, what's his name? Slipping out of my head. But he was mentioned like, hey, you're not a Frost, but yet he's basically it all, the entire stuff. And it's just like, that's so interesting because it's clearly family because it's family. But it's like, well, you're not a Frost. It's like, but so that's what I'm wondering. Like, what was the statement about family, JM, that you're trying to make with that? And then Billy with you with like, with everything through what Lucas goes through, who would you say this statement is essentially about family?
Am I correct in saying this, John-Michael? We talked about the theme of like, you might be a rattlesnake, which means the venom's always there, but it's whether or not you want to use it or not. It's in you, and it's your choice of how to control that power. And I think that's kind of what family is, that like, yes, you're born into a family, but how do you handle those circumstances? How do you take responsibility for the cards you were kind of dealt?
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. I think at a very basic level, the movie is about, the inherited violence the inherited trauma that we all get passed down from one generation to the next in our families. And those legacies of trauma are in our DNA. And so then it's something that, first of all, from a narrative standpoint, is everybody can relate to. We all have family members that are that uncle who you're like, whatever it is, right? So that's just at a very basic level. It's something that I think we can all relate to. And then, unfortunately, we live in a world that a lot of families like this are divided right now. And there's a lot of trauma that that we're all dealing with on a daily basis. And I think we're constantly, having to question where our moral fiber is and like where we're willing to take a stand versus where we're willing to be more passive. And, I just think, unfortunately, this movie, when it comes to family drama, is timely as ever. And, obviously this movie is taking that family drama one step further and setting it in a revenge story so that it's a violent tale. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, like so much of the fiber of this country is built on clans of families who came here and tried to build something. And we're constantly butting up against this tribalism of,
or not. Like, I think majority of America wants the same thing. It's just all this bullshit ideology going on right now.
It's all, and I think
it has gotten so fucking weird. I'm sorry, I have to say it. America's gotten weird. It's not American. Yeah. We're being pinned against each other when the truth is, I think we're all on the same side.
And that's the movie.
Yeah. You can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore, guys. Yeah.
I notes together for the review, and I didn't really want to just to it because the society is so damn weird right now. It's like, well, just take a look out the window. You say those things that we're just saying there right in the film. And, that's why I love independent filmmaking. I know it wasn't something you just did today, or nor did you look back at some point and say, like, I hope the world shifts into this direction. That's like, it is like the beauty of art in terms of like the relevance it is and how it can connect the folks for better or for worse. But like there is a bit of like solidarity in this that we all can sort of understand and relate through all the violent stuff, really the themes within the film. So thank you for this project. But ended up, giving excellent. Obviously, I think the script was great. I feel like there had to be a sense of improv, getting up there, having to confess your love in front of everybody. And it's almost like you were like kind of glowing. You had to get up there and say, look at this person. And then you say, like, I'm the most handsome person. I mean, it's just, I didn't like that. He's like, okay, well, whatever. But like, it just felt very you at that point. Did you talk filming that scene?
I'm sorry, cut out a few times.
The bank scene.
Yeah.
The bank scene?
The bank scene. Remember when Alexandra...
No, that's all scripted. That was scripted. That's the truth, right? It was.
I think I gave Alexandra permission to, because she was writing the notes, and I kind of gave her permission. I was like, yeah, add your flair to it. And so there are a couple Alex Shipp little nuggets in there. And I feel like, am I wrong? Maybe I scripted I'm the sexiest man in the state of Arkansas, but I feel like that's a Billy line.
I think yeah, maybe. I don't remember. This is the crazy thing about, when did we shoot? 2 years?
That was like 2 years ago, and that was like one of the first days of production. It was like very early in production.
Yeah, that bank. Yeah. I don't remember, but the way I usually operate is really like, I like scripts. They tell you what to do.
Yeah. But he's also being modest because he's so good at riffing, unbelievably talented at riffing and finding, the last little jab to make a scene work.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The playground's there. Just play in the playground. That's already set.
Jay, I'm going to come to you for my last question here. Anytime you mention the word Ozark, we kind of understand sort of the aesthetic of this geographical area. Can you talk about how you was able to use that to your advantage, and how did it sort of open up the creativeness in terms of developing the story?
Yeah, I just want to say we actually shot in the Ozarks.
I believe
it's our shot in Cumming, Georgia, where I live. That's in Georgia.
That's so funny.
Ozarks. Yeah.
Well, we're more authentic. Yeah, we're more authentic.
Jason Bateman.
Yeah. No, look, we had a very fortunate, happy kind of accident. We shot this film in November of 2023. It's been a couple of years, but what we discovered, it was always the intent to make it an autumn film, because the autumn in the Ozarks are so beautiful. You get all those oranges, reds, and browns. And but what we were really worried going into production that winter was going to come, and we were so desperate to shoot the movie before winter and all the leaves fell, because we knew we wanted it to be an autumnal film. For whatever reason, production, it's challenging. We had to push a couple weeks. We were pushing closer to winter. At the end, what we realized was, oh my gosh, it became a perfect proxy for the character arc. So like at the beginning of the movie, the landscape is very lush, autumnal. It's like beautiful. By the last scene of the film, it's the leaves have all fallen. It's wintry. It then becomes the perfect, analog to Lucas's character arc. And and also, not to spoil anything, but we have a little button at the end of the film that, emotionally goes back to a very different feeling. And we shot that earlier in the season. So I don't know, the season is such a layered kind of character in this movie that's in the background, but it's very intentional. And you definitely feel it.
For sure. I think I need a wrap, but Easy Grace, the sauce selection.
I grew up in Arkansas. I'm from the South. It's such a Southern cultural touchstone that is obviously has, its roots in history, and, we all know the history of the South, but like, it just felt something that was just culturally relevant to where I grew up. It's just like a song I heard all the time, and it has layered emotion and meaning, and it just like, it was another little way to jab the audience in the heart when
You have been, the music of it was acting the hands over the team.
She is, yeah.
What?
The song that gives you, it just was like, I'm pulling that one from under you here.
Yeah.
But so sort of time today, it was a completely fantastic talking to you both.
Yeah, pleasure. I mean,
I'm gonna do some podcasting because y'all were dropping some gems today.
Billy and I started a podcast on independent cinema.
hey, how you doing?
I'm subscribed right now. But folks, get to the theaters October 31st. Volume is a film you absolutely want to check out. It was a great watch. It was great talking to you about it. And I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it. So thank you once again and congratulations on this project.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. Take care.
Ridiculous.